Under the shimmering tropical canopy of Belém, the humid air carries the anticipation of world leaders converging for COP30. Brazil's President, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, sits at the heart of the diplomatic choreography, welcoming heads of state and financial leaders whose nations and institutions will shape the future of climate policy. The setting, a colonial-style government compound surrounded by palms and the sound of distant riverboats, underscores the symbolism of Brazil hosting this crucial summit in the Amazon's gateway city. As cameras click and aides shuffle briefing papers, Lula greets Sidi Altar, president of the African Development Bank. The two exchange words through translators, their conversation focused and deliberate. Both men know the stakes are immense. Africa and South America share not only tropical latitudes, but also parallel challenges: vast biodiversity, deforestation pressures, and fragile economies seeking sustainable growth. Lula emphasizes Brazil's vision for a collective future rooted in solidarity and ecological responsibility. This is no mere formality. Brazil's government has chosen COP30 as the launchpad for its signature environmental initiative, the Tropical Forests Forever Fund, known by its English acronym TFFF. The fund's goal is simple yet monumental: to secure long-term financing that keeps forests standing rather than treating them as expendable resources. As the press records the moment, Brazil's Foreign Minister Mauro Vieira steps before the microphones. His tone carries the weight of urgency. The COP meeting holds fundamental importance at this moment, says Vieira. During this meeting, we will launch several initiatives. The most significant of these, one that draws a lot of attention and is also very important, is an innovation. It is the TFFF, the Tropical Forests Forever Fund. Behind that polished diplomatic phrasing lies months of negotiation. The idea is to create a financing pool supported by sovereign wealth funds, multilateral banks, and climate-oriented investors, each committing resources to nations with major forest areas. Unlike past projects, this one aims for permanence. The returns are not financial in the traditional sense, but ecological and humanitarian, a mechanism to preserve oxygen, biodiversity, and livelihoods simultaneously. Next, the cameras move to Lula's meeting with Alexander Stubb, the president of Finland. The Nordic leader, known for his forthright diplomacy, greets Lula warmly. Their handshake is brief but symbolic, a gesture bridging two distant latitudes united by climate concern. Finland, with its dense boreal forests, and Brazil, guardian of the Amazon, understand that deforestation anywhere undermines stability everywhere. Inside the meeting room, aides exchange folders marked with the COP30 emblem. Discussions centre on renewable energy cooperation, particularly biofuels and forest governance frameworks. Lula, speaking in Portuguese, but through an interpreter for the Finnish delegation, stresses that climate justice begins where exploitation ends. Stubb nods in agreement, emphasising Finland's technological expertise in carbon capture and sustainable forestry. Moments later, Azali Assoumani, president of the Comoros and current chair of the African Union, arrives. His presence highlights the developing world's stake in the climate dialogue. The Comoros, a small island nation vulnerable to rising seas, embodies the urgency of COP30's mission. Lula greets him personally, underscoring Brazil's outreach to smaller nations, often overshadowed in global negotiations. In another soundbite, Mauro Vieira expands on the scope of the TFFF. One part of it will also be used to finance projects in countries that have forests and want to develop initiatives to keep those forests standing, he explains. The phrasing, calm and direct, reflects Brazil's intent to act, not as a donor, but as a partner in shared survival. Throughout the day, Belém's streets buzz with activity. Banners flutter from lampposts reading COP30, the Amazon's voice. Volunteers in green shirts coordinate logistics, and local children wave flags outside the conference centre. Helicopters pass overhead, an emblem of the security and scale of what's unfolding. The meetings continue behind closed doors. Lula's advisors, including Environment Minister Marina Silva, fine-tune Brazil's proposals for the upcoming summit plenary. Their objective: to present Brazil not merely as a host nation, but as a leader of the Global South's environmental front. For Lula, COP30 is both a personal and political milestone. Returning to the presidency after years of upheaval, he sees this summit as Brazil's redemption arc, a demonstration that the country once accused of rampant deforestation is now offering a lifeline to the planet's lungs. Foreign Minister Vieira's final remarks underscore this point. We hope that the United States will be present, he says carefully. We already have information that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, will not be coming, but the American delegation will have an important role to play. The statement is diplomatic, yet revealing. The absence of a US president at a major climate summit signals political tension, but Brazil's tone remains inclusive. Lula's strategy hinges on creating momentum regardless of who attends, building alliances with Europe, Africa and Asia to sustain the Amazon initiative. In the corridors, one can sense the convergence of urgency and hope. Aides from the African Development Bank discuss potential pilot projects in Gabon and the Congo Basin. Finnish delegates outline pathways for digital monitoring of deforestation. The Comoros delegation calls for ocean protection funds to be integrated into climate finance. The diversity of voices reflects the growing realization that climate diplomacy must mirror the ecosystems it seeks to protect, interconnected and interdependent. As evening descends on Belém, soft rain begins to fall, coating the red rooftops and the wide avenues with a tropical sheen. Journalists file their reports, capturing images of Lula shaking hands, ministers smiling, and the COP30 logo glowing against the damp sky. But beyond the optics, a deeper message resonates. The Amazon is no longer a backdrop, it is a protagonist. Lula's closing statement delivered to Brazilian media later that night reiterates this vision. He speaks not as a negotiator, but as a custodian of responsibility. Brazil, he says, will use COP30 to remind the world that forests are not obstacles to progress. They are the foundation of our survival. The day's diplomacy in Belém, from the cordial exchanges to the formal declarations, sets the stage for what many are calling the most consequential environmental summit since Paris 2015. The Tropical Forests Forever Fund may still be in its infancy, but its ambition is clear: to give the world's greenest regions a fighting chance to remain green forever. As the lights dim over the Amazon port city, one truth lingers. Climate diplomacy is no longer an abstract debate among industrial powers. It is increasingly a conversation led by those who live within the forests, on the islands, and beside the rivers that sustain us all. In Belém, that conversation has found its most powerful voice yet.
A reunião da COP tem uma importância fundamental nesse momento e nessa reunião nós lançaremos então várias iniciativas. A maior delas, ou uma que chama muita atenção e que é muito importante e também uma inovação, é o TFFF na sigla em inglês, que é o Fundo de Florestas Tropicais para Sempre. Isso é cada país e uma parte também será usado para financiamento de projetos em países detentores de florestas e que desejam desenvolver iniciativas para manter as florestas em pé. Esperamos que os Estados Unidos esteja presente, já temos informação de que o presidente dos Estados Unidos não virá, mas a delegação americana terá papel importante a desempenhar, como